Hello, hello. This is Julia Trask. I'm really excited for episode 6 because we're hosting Jordan Wright, who is an author who is kicking some massive goals at the moment with a international best-selling book, Mandala Chronicles. She's also topped the charts in Australia, Japan, and the UK. And of course, we're going to help her get to the top of the charts for the US as well, hopefully by the end of this week, so that she can tick off another amazing goal. So really excited to share Jordan with you. I've met her through needing some copywriting and some ads help through my business, and it's been so amazing to see a fellow author going super well. And so I'm really keen to talk to her about author's mindset and really celebrate her success today. So without further ado, I'm going to let Jordan introduce herself and tell us about her author journey.
Hi.
Hey.
Thanks for having me here. I'm so excited. Yes, like Julia mentioned, I've recently in the last couple of days hit #1 international bestseller status with my book, The Mandala Chronicles, in the UK, Japan, and Australia. We were currently sitting at #9 in the US. So my goal for the rest of this week is to hit #1 in the States as well. So we still have today and Friday for the States to hit that #1 bestseller for my campaign. So major goals happening here, and I'm so excited to see what happens with it and how many people I can help through my book, and really get feedback on what people are enjoying and what I need to expand on, and just seeing everyone just escape that reality for a little while with the story that I've written for them.
Cool. So would you like to tell us a little bit about the story? Because I know that that's going to help us sort of delve into the mindset stuff later on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the inspiration behind my book was for it to be a mix between Harry Potter and The Secret. So I've written visualization and manifestation and breathwork techniques all in this completely fiction setting. So when I envisioned people reading my book, I imagined my brothers and I, when we were younger, we would get our sticks and we'd have our wands and we'd do the spells and we'd be playing outside, pretending to be
best stuff.
And that's what I wanted people to do with my book, but I wanted them to take away the breathing techniques and the visualization techniques and the gratitude techniques and everything like that. And people are actually already starting to do it. So a friend of mine is a grade 3 teacher, and she has been reading the book to her little 8-year-olds in her class, and they have just blown my mind because she's been telling me that they can't leave for the day until they've done their breathing and their gratitude, and they're doing their gratitude journals, and they're talking about like their ego and the voice in their head and all that kind of stuff, which is amazing because she said that some of the kids that really had some anxiety on their shoulders are actually learning to talk about it, and they're learning that everything that they think isn't true, which has been amazing. And it's the whole reason I wrote this book, was to try and get people to open up more and to realize that, just because you think it and just because you believe it's true doesn't actually mean that it is. And to show them, really simple things like being grateful for clean water and being really grateful for your friends or being really grateful for having a bed, things that kids especially don't realize that they can be grateful for them and that it's actually a blessing to have those types of things.
Yeah, 100%. It must be so rewarding to know that your end goal you wanted is already happening. You're getting that feedback.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. And I know that a lot of people haven't finished reading the book yet because it's only been launched officially for about a month. So people who had bought them are still receiving them. But the feedback that I've had has primarily been that they love the storyline, they love the message, and they haven't been able to put it down, which is an author's #1 dream, really.
Yeah. Because when you're writing a book, there's a lot of processes that go on behind the scene that people don't know are happening.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk us through some of that process?
Yeah. Well, I, for one, am a terrible planner. I'm an awful planner. So I actually planned this first book out and I finished it and it was a pile of garbage. It was so bad. So I actually had to go back and be like, well, I'm obviously not going to be able to do this the way that I think I have to do it. So I just need to write and let it channel. So what I read ages ago, and it's really resonated with me, is that some authors are plotters and some authors are planners.
Yeah.
And some authors are plotters and some authors are pantsers. So as an example, J.K. Rowling is a fantastic plotter. So she knew exactly what was going to happen right from the get-go. She knew her characters, her storyline, and what was going to, the whole seven books was planned out. Whereas George R.R. Martin is a really famous pantser, where he just flies off the seat of his pants and writes. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense to me. So I am 100% a pantser.
I was going to say, I know I'm a pantser too.
So it's just, and when I read that, I was like, this has just changed my life, because I now realize that everything that I feel like I have to do doesn't actually need to be done. So while I knew what my characters were going to be, the age of my characters, what they were going to look like, the scenarios that they were going to be in, the actual storyline itself just kind of came. And the second book that I wrote, because I've written the second book in the series already as well, happened so much quicker than the first one, because I just allowed the story to come to me instead of trying to force it.
Yeah.
But what that means is that the editing process takes so much longer. Because there's so many discrepancies. So I'm in the editing process at the moment, and I'm on the third draft, and I have to do about 3 or 4 or 5 drafts whenever I do this, because just little things like in one chapter one of the characters' eyes might be blue and the other one they might be brown, or someone's wearing I've got a ring in my book, and in one chapter the sister's holding it, and then the other chapter it's still on the brother's finger. So all these little discrepancies that you just have to become really aware of, that you can only do through doing lots and lots of drafts. But the good thing is that as the more drafts you go through, the quicker it takes to edit it, and you become so much more familiar with your story as well, which you really need to do, especially if you haven't planned it out beforehand.
And I guess there's also those moments in time where you've got to have that space to know that you can edit and connect with it properly, to do the right thing with it, to get the final product.
Absolutely. The number one thing I would tell any author is that the first draft of anything is absolute rubbish. The first draft of anything is absolute rubbish. It can be a text message, it can be a Facebook post, it can be a #1 bestseller, whatever it is you've written. The first draft of anything is garbage. You can edit it and edit it and edit it. But you also need to get to a point, because you can keep editing it, get to a point where you're like, okay, I need to stop. This is it. I'm just going to nitpick at it, and you could be editing it forever. So you need to get to a point. And when that does happen, I recommend you sharing it with someone else to read, to look over it, because they'll see it with fresh eyes and probably see a couple of things that you may have missed or automatically assumed in your head that you didn't put on the page.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I know, thinking about my writing habits as a student, I used to write like 6 or 7 drafts of an assignment for HP or English, and then be like, it's not really any different. And I think it's the same when you write a book. The content, what you want to have in there. It's just learning how to, I guess, surrender and let it flow as it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the surrendering part that's the hardest, especially because it's your work, like it's your baby, isn't it? You're like, I've put so much time and blood and sweat and tears into this, that you want everyone to love it. So my biggest fear being an author is having just one person not like my book, which is bound to happen, So, it's terrifying when you put yourself out in the public space like this, but also something that's bound to happen. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen for a little while yet.
Yeah. So did you have any moments in time where you struggled with writing or anything like that?
I've been writing since I could remember. So like when I was a kid, I would write all these stories in this little green journal that I had, and they were the most ridiculous stories, but we never had much money growing up. So I used to write about a life that I didn't have, like traveling the world and with all my favorite TV show character friends, and, going to theme parks all the time and doing all that kind of stuff that as an 8-year-old you would just dream of doing. And yeah, I've just always written. So I've never struggled with the writing side of things. It's more, I've sometimes struggled with being confident enough to putting it out into the world. Like, is this worthwhile? Will anyone even enjoy this? Or, but when I started writing the Mandala Chronicles, or when I started telling people about it, I had goosebumps. And every time I would talk about it, I would just get these serious goosebumps. And that's how I knew that this is what I needed to do. I had to put it out into the world. Because every time I talked about it or aspired or shared my dreams with someone, I would just be head to toe in goosebumps. And I was like, all right, fine.
My body is telling me something.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to marketing and trying to get yourself and successfully doing it on the lists for, the UK, Australia, Japan, international, what steps did you need to go through for your mindset to get it to that particular point?
For my mindset? First things first, this was 100% not a sole accomplishment. I have a publisher who has done a lot of the marketing, but mindset-wise, I'm really lucky in this regard, because I have had that goosebumps moments where I'm like, yeah, this is meant to be, this is going to be seen by the masses. I never questioned that I would be able to get to number one. Not once questioned it. And thinking back now, I'm like, I don't know why I didn't question it, because I was like, there's so many other amazing books out there. But yeah, I just never questioned it. And that's how I knew that I was on the right path, that this was going to be something that might actually be able to change a few people's lives. Because the whole time I was like, of course it's going to be an international bestseller. That's just the path it's meant to take. But at the same time, I also, every time I did my gratitude, I would also do my I'm so happy and grateful for being an international bestseller. And I would just, when they say that you need to spend so much time in your metaphysical as well as your physical, I would always do the gratitudes, but I'd also just, every time I thought of the book, it was on the top of the lists,
Yes.
So it's really hard, because with the marketing campaign, the way it works is that they put it on free for Kindle for about 3 or 4 days, and that's when all the downloads happen, and that's how you hit the bestseller list, which is amazing, because for the genre that my book is, which is young adult fiction, the number one bestseller on the paid list right now is Stephanie Meyer's new book, so Twilight. Number one on that. Just crazy. Like, the book's been only out for just over a month, So I would thank the heavens that it was that the marketing campaign put it on the top free Kindle, because I don't think I would have hit number one if it was all paid marketing. So, but who knows, maybe in the next couple of months I might overtake Stephanie Meyer, and wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, that would feel awesome. Sometimes I think people do get stuck in, because they don't have that goosebumps moment, or have that real deep, like, in all honesty, I'm writing a book at the moment where I know the similar sort of thing. I don't get goosebumps, but I just know if it's not out, there's a big miss here. So we just got to do it. But some people don't have that kind of conviction, and they get stuck. So do you have any advice for people who know they've got a book in them, but they can't get past that point?
Yeah. So this is actually part of my other business that I help people with, and I help ghostwrite books for people. So 2 pieces of advice. If you want to do it solely by yourself, get someone you love and trust to read your thoughts first, because they're going to give you positive feedback, and you need that positive feedback in the beginning. Otherwise, you're just going to get really low mentality about it. And if you have a story to share, it needs to be shared. I think everyone has a story that they can share. And on the other side of things is that if you do get someone to help you out, so a ghostwriter or a writing coach or whatever, which I highly recommend. So I found my publisher really early on, and she helped me so much. I think that it's important to have that person help guide you, because everyone gets stuck. I mean, Olympic athletes have coaches, and Tony Robbins has a coach, and all this kind of stuff. The best of the best is always being coached, and if you want to become the best of the best, you're never going to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be lifted up at some point. So while you're lifting up other people, and you're fine with lifting up other people, you need to realize that it's fine for you to be lifted up as well.
Yeah. It's so important. I think in business in particular, there has been for a long time this conversation of the self-made, like businesswoman or self-made person. And I'm just like, really, like, can you stand in your authenticity and say that you were self-made? Like, I know that I have people that help me. Like, I can't honestly say that I've never called like even IT support for Google or something. Like, so I'm not self-made. Like,
absolutely not. My kids have been in daycare since they were 1. If my kids hadn't been in daycare since they were 1, I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't have written a book. I wouldn't be on this call right now because my kids would be home. And it just frustrates the crap out of me when people say, oh, I just worked really hard, or I gave up my sleep and eating and did my business. And I'm like, no. No, you have some help. Either it's a parent that's come to help you or something. Like, everyone needs to be helped and self-made. And when people say they're solely self-made, it's probably a really sad situation more than a one to celebrate, because like everyone needs a village to support them, whether it's in business, whether it's in motherhood, whether it's in relationships, whether it's friendships, anything. You need to have your village support you throughout all aspects of your life. Otherwise, it's just too difficult, especially mindset wise. It's too easy to get stuck in your head if you don't have someone to pull you back down.
Yeah. And just ruminating over the things that aren't helping you, and getting stuck. I'd like to talk about how you think being an author, running a business while having kids is going to have that positive positive impact on your children and what they see for their future.
Well, my kids, being 1 and 4, are already crazy independent. And when my daughter is just a little mini me, and it's hard being her mum, but at the same time, I know that I really want to encourage it. Whereas when I grew up, and I'm only 28, so it wasn't that long ago, it was the whole children need to be seen, not heard, don't talk back, blah, blah, blah. Which, is nice. Like, I want my kids to be nice, but I don't want my daughter to feel like her opinions or the ideas that she has or her imagination is annoying, or that it's not valid. So being a business owner and having my own book and being able to do everything that I'm doing while still being able to, within school hours, I want my kids to just realize that anything is possible, and that, you don't have to be working the 80-hour weeks and busting your gut to reach your goals. In fact, I feel like working those type of hours are going to restrict you from your goals.
Yeah.
I want them to live a life that I didn't get to experience when I was younger, because my family didn't have any money when I was younger. And while I'm still building my business, and while I'm still going through a whole crap ton of life lessons that have knocking me off my feet, I want them to realize that, if they have an idea, or if they have a goosebumps moment, or if they have something they're super passionate about, that they need to be pursuing it. Because I think going back to your passions in your early adulthood or even late adulthood, I think it's too late. Not to be successful or not to enjoy your life, but I think it's too late for you. I think it's too late for you to have missed that opportunity to be able to experience it for most of your life.
Yeah.
I think that the era of work hard, play hard is finished, and I think it just needs to be play hard, work smart. It's and that's something I want my kids to know. And so I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, so that my kids can look back and be like, and look at their lives and be like, I was happy in my childhood. You know, I don't want them to look back and be like, oh, I hated school, or this happened and this happened. You know, I want them to be like, no, actually, I've been happy. I've been happy for most of my life. You know,
Yeah.
haven't had anything that's, you know, and everything that didn't make me happy, I got to talk it through, or my mum actually listened to me when I said that I wasn't happy, you know, instead of, oh, you're fine, just go back to school tomorrow, or you're fine, your friends are just playing, or you're fine, you know, because
Yeah,
sometimes,
I love that. Yeah.
yeah, these kids aren't fine, and they do need to be listened to. Yeah, especially now that they're being born so intuitive as well. Like, I don't know about you, whether you've noticed kids these days, but they're so intuitive. They're so awake.
Yeah.
And I come awake until in my 20s. So my kids have a much better chance of living their dream lives, you know?
Yeah. And I think there's almost a disconnect between adults and young kids because they're already like sponges. And that's where some of the generational conversations happen about, oh, Gen Y or Gen Z or whatever the new generation is now.
Yeah.
They're like this. Well, actually, no, they just think differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And and even with my own parents, and my parents are pretty chill, but I have thoughts or beliefs or dreams or goals that people go, oh, you have big dreams and big goals and big whatever. Like, I don't think so. I think it's pretty normal. Like, I want to be able to travel the world and talk on stages about my book and my story and the messages that I have to share and all this kind of stuff. And everyone's like, oh, but you have children. And I'm like, but unschooling and homeschooling is such a big thing now. And they're like, oh, you're going to want your children to go to school. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be with my kids all day, every day. But, you know, there's nannies, there's tutors, there's whatever else. But I also I want them to see the world, and I want them to see different cultures, and I want them to see what's possible and all that kind of stuff, you know? So big
Yeah, it's almost like people.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry, you go.
It's almost like people forget that the how is just all that has to be answered.
Yeah.
Like I've had the same thing. Like, oh yeah, that's a big goal. That's a big. Oh, you know, what's going to happen there? I don't know, but you figure it out. Like that's half the fun. That's where you learn. That's where the growth comes into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's when like relationships start to break down as well. Like, and not necessarily romantic relationships or family relationships, but, you know, friendships or, you know, just relationships that weren't serving your higher purpose can break down. And it can be so hard. It can be so hard. It can be so devastating if you lose a friendship and you don't know why, or your relationship breaks down and you don't know why, or anything like that. But when you get past the, you know, heartbreak of it all, you just look back and you're like, that was actually the best thing that ever.
And it's so refreshing too when you share your big audacious goals with someone who's like, yep, like you just said a sentence and you're like, oh man, they haven't like attacked me for the goal. They haven't put me down. I can just be in my superpower and be like, this book I've got is going to hit the US bestseller as well. And you just wait. And they're just like, yeah, we know. It's so good.
I know. I have the most amazing friends ever. So I caught up with a friend I hadn't seen for ages on Wednesday, and I have this new goal. I don't know why. The only thing I can imagine is because my book it's like mix between Harry Potter and The Secret. So I have this massive goal that I really want to meet Tom Felton, and I just want to be able to like work with him and speak on a stage with him and all that kind of stuff. Massive goal. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know why it will happen or anything like that, but that doesn't matter. That is my goal. I want to meet and just work with Tom Felton. And I have this friend, and she just kind of looked at me and she's like, oh, well, have you done this? You know, have you got in touch with him on his socials? Have you done all this kind of stuff? And it was just so amazing and supportive that I was just like, thank you. I was like, it's weird, and I don't know why this is my goal right now, but it is, you know, this is what I want to do. I think this will really help share the message, you know.
Yeah, I love that because I know I've got one of my friends, Tony, in particular, like she says, we know that you might not do it tomorrow. It might take, you know, a day or two after your set time, but 100% it's happening.
Yeah.
And that's so cool because you don't need to have, I think some people have that fallacy that you need a huge amount of people behind you to achieve it, but you don't. You just need it sounds so corny, but your diehards with you. supporting you. So are your family the same?
Yeah, well, my parents are both self-employed. So they've always been supportive of me and my crazy goals. So I never went to uni. My parents never pushed me to go to uni. When I was 20, I moved to London. I've done a whole bunch of crazy things, and they've just always supported me. My partner grew up in a really career-driven family. So, brick and mortar, working for a big company type family. So he's he's really struggled to come to terms with the self-employed ambitions.
Yeah.
But it's taken 5 years, maybe a little less than 5 years, but he's finally realized that, regardless of whether he approves or whether it's what he thinks is the right way to go about it, I'm just going to do it. And he's kind of seen me jump from strength to strength, and start to take over a few more of the household bills and be able to do things without relying on him. And he can now start to rely on me a little bit as well. And it's really become this nice give and take. So it's hard for people, especially because when you start a business, it does take a few years, especially if you have young kids at the same time. It does take a few years to get kickstarted, and I've chopped and changed and done a few different things until I finally found this writing niche. And yeah, like I said before, like with the writing, and the reason I know I'm on the right track is because I have people messaging me all the time to help them write their books or to help with their social media content or ebooks or articles or blogs or whatever. And they just keep consistently coming back. And from this book, from this publishing contract and all that kind of jazz, I've been able to have a consistent income come in because I'm just writing for people, and it's been amazing,
Yeah. And I guess that's the key thing, is the consistency.
Yeah.
Which can be really hard when we combine mindset and consistency, keeping it up, because there's so many moving parts when it comes to copywriting. And some people, the advice is work on one social media platform and then do something, and then you think, oh, but now I'm not across this one. And so what's a good way for people who perhaps not at the author stage, but they just want to be consistent so that they are making the impact that they want?
Get help.
Yes.
The thing that especially my consistent social media clients was that they were procrastinating with their posts, or they weren't being consistent with their content across all social medias because they didn't enjoy writing, or they couldn't come up with the ideas, or they couldn't word what they wanted to the way that they wanted to. And so that's where I came in, and I was like, well, give me the inspiration and I'll flesh it out. And their engagement just went through the roof because, with an energetic thing as well, you tap into it. But the reason I get people to send me their inspiration is because you tap into what it is that they want, or what it is that the message they're trying to get across. And the best thing about writing is that there can be more than one draft. So if you're not happy with it, or I'm not happy with it, you just chop and change. And that's the same thing as we were saying before, is you can't do everything by yourself. So if you're someone who loves to write, fantastic, get someone to help you with the posting. If you're someone who loves to post but doesn't want to write, get someone to help you with the writing. It's a real give and take.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I would love doing the writing, but then I don't want to, excuse the language, but dick around finding the pictures to go with it, or do all the images myself. I'm just like, yeah, somebody else can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's when the content starts to dwindle down, is because everyone tries to do it all themselves. And then it's either doesn't happen, or it's a real half-assed attempt, or whatever, So I am a huge advocate for either getting a VA or a content creator or something to just do the crap that you hate doing.
Yeah. And I think people really miss that concept of you're not giving away your power, or you're not giving away your message. What you're doing is you're getting back time to create greater impact.
Yeah.
And there's really no, you'll make more money, but there's really no monetary figure you can put on more time. Like, whoa.
Not at all. So I'm really lucky that most of my clients come from referrals. And from those referrals, it all happens quite well. So my socials are god awful at the moment. I haven't done hardly anything on it. So now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to expand and I'm ready to do more. And again, I can do the writing, no worries, but pictures and posting and scheduling and all that crap, which I did for a business for so long. I'm just now like, no, thank you. So yeah, so I'm at the same point as what I'm telling everyone else to do, and I'm looking for something to just do all this posting for me, you know?
Yeah. We'll just want to go back to the book for a little bit.
Yeah.
Narratives have a really important place in teaching skills to kids, also adults. What do you think are the most important ones in terms of a mindset and confidence that need to be in narratives today?
The importance of breathing.
Yeah.
So I've recently started learning about breathwork through a client of mine. And it's so funny because you're like, it's pretty much basically, if you feel like breathwork isn't the most important thing in your life, then try not breathing for a minute. People forget that if you take a deep breath in and you oxidize everything, you actually start to calm down, which then in turn helps your mindset, which then in turn fixes the narrative, which then in turn, just helps everything start to flow a bit better. Because when you panic, you stop the oxygen from flowing, and then you get stressed and you get panicky, and everything just feels too overwhelming. So 100%, if you're stressing or you're whatever, take just at least one deep breath. Try and take 5, but take at least one and just get the oxygen flowing, So that is number one has to be added in I think it's the most important.
Cool. And so do you have a regular kind of breathwork practice for yourself?
No, I tend to just think about what I need. So if I'm overwhelmed, especially with my kids, especially if I'm getting really triggered by my kids, like they're crying or they're not listening or whatever, I just do the and then I'm chasing after them again. I don't have time to do the 5 deep breaths. But if it's nighttime and I'm manifesting or I'm visualizing, it'll be in for 5 and out for 5. So I cater to whatever situation I'm in. And I think that's probably the easiest way to do it, is that when you just allow yourself to intuitively breathe, it makes such a difference. Whereas people get so stuck in like patterns and plans, and they're like, no, I have to sit for a minute and breathe. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like, I know a minute doesn't sound like a long time, but if you're freaking out about time, or you don't have enough time, for example, sitting for a minute doing nothing can feel like an age. So I feel like as long as you're doing it once, or every time you think about doing it, at least doing it once, it starts to become a lot more of a habit that way, instead of something that you feel like you're forcing into your life, because I feel like that never works.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's lots of conversations about morning routines that set up the mindset to get the productivity for whatever project you're working on. But then it like becomes a checklist. If I've done it, I haven't done it. Am I now successful because I've checked off my morning routine or my sleep routine,
Yeah, the number one thing that I hear is wake up an hour before your family does. My son has been waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning for the last 3 months. So I'm probably not going to wake up at 3 a.m.
Not going to start a 3 a.m. Facebook group.
Yeah, no. To schedule my posts. It's not going to happen. Like, no. So I think everyone needs to take these things with a pinch of salt and be like, will this assist me in my life the way it is right now? If the answer is yes, jump on in. If the answer is no, go back to bed. Don't stress. Everyone is different, and not this every routine or belief or a technique isn't going to work the same for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that's where writing, comprehending, and living your life all collide, because so many people, read what has been written and they don't critically think about how will that work for me. They just go, oh, I'll take it on, and then later on go, oh, hang on a minute, I don't feel like myself, I don't feel authentic. And you're like, well, does it fit you?
Yeah, it's definitely, you need to take everything with a pinch of salt, so yeah, if you see something and it resonates with you, then implement it. And if it doesn't work the same way they've written it, just tweak it until it does. Or if you read something that doesn't resonate with you, but it worked amazingly for the author, that's great. It's great that it worked for the author. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and it doesn't have to. There's no right or wrong. The aim is to be happy, you know. You just want to keep your vibe up, and if you're trying to force yourself to do too much, you're not going to have that happiness.
Yeah. So what books are your go-to books that you like reading?
Rachel Hollis. I love Rachel Hollis. I've only discovered her recently. So Rachel Hollis has been amazing. Really enjoyed the way that she wrote and the tips that she gave. And the other one is the Elizabeth, I don't remember her last name, but she wrote Eat, Pray, Love. But this, I'm talking about her big magic book. So she,
Gilbert.
yeah, that's the,
yeah.
So those two have just, they're the ones that spoke to me on the deepest level. And I would just love eventually to be able to reach the same audiences that they have, and share the stories that they have, and help people the way that they've helped me, you know, but all in due time, you know.
Yeah. So with that said, are you thinking about writing a similar sort of fantasy, in the fantasy genre, but for adults?
I think I'm going to stick with my series for now, because I have planned like another series that weaves into this Mandala Chronicles series first. So I'm going to stick with it until I get all that inspiration out of me. But I would love to do the adult inspirational genre at some point. But I feel like maybe in 10 years' time when I've finished all these other books.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. I've really enjoyed that. This has been so good, like hearing about it, and you can tell you're so passionate about your message. You've also been in schools, and you want to get into schools more to talk about your book, hey?
Yeah, my book and my message. So basically, I want to share the reasoning behind the way I wrote the book, and share the techniques. But I also want to share my story to kids that need to hear it, and the fact that I didn't do uni. I traveled. I moved in with my boyfriend when I was 18, and it was a disaster. But I'm, you know, totally fine with it. And I just want to share that, you know, the structure that we've been told to live our lives is absolute bullshit. Pretty much. I just want to share with them that it's okay if you don't have an ambition to follow this structure, you know, and that, you know, things work out for the best, you know. So I really want to get in and chat to them, because I know, especially when I was in grade 12 and grade 11, and we were getting pumped with, you know, QCS and getting into university and what we needed to do and all that kind of jazz, it was just the worst. It was just the worst. And I wish I had someone to come in and say, relax, whatever your path is, or even if you take a wrong turn, it's fine. You can always correct yourself, you know?
Yeah, and the thing that I find surprising, having still been connected this year in schools, especially secondary, is the conversation hasn't really changed in a decade. It's still like, we've got all this technology. We have kids that, you know, the kids in Facebook groups that I hang out and you hang out in too, no doubt, that are 16, 17 starting a business. But put that out there and it's like crickets. No one's talking about it. And I think what an amazing opportunity for children to learn that there's different ways to go. Because I know for me, it was made, I mean, I love my parents to death, but it was made perfectly clear that uni was the way to go. Yeah. And for my brother, he was a boy, trade is great if you're not going to uni. And that was really it. And schools were really saying the same thing, and they're still saying the same thing. You know, about a month ago, a kid said to me, why would you have a business and also go into schools? I'm like, why wouldn't you have multiple incomes? Yeah. It's like a thought that they haven't even crossed their mind, because it's not been opened up. And I find it really sad, especially in this economic climate. And also, to be fair, I talk to quite a lot of people who they want to write the books and they want to have the business, but they're still stuck in that teenage mindset because mum and dad might not like it, or my family might not accept it. And not everyone, like, I mean, I'm the example. You said your family's self-employed, but nobody else had a business when I started mine in my family. And so it really does feel very different when you're breaking the mold, and we need people to talk about that. So I think that's really cool that you want to do that.
Yeah, I just know that I would have, to have someone tell me that it's okay to not want to follow the mold of things would have just lifted a weight off my shoulders immensely. I remember in grade 12 just being on the verge of tears most of the year. because it was just stressful. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And I went to a private school as well. So it was real, like, good grades, be a part of everything, whatever. And yeah, I was just like, this isn't for me. Oh no, this isn't for me. And every time I tried to like say it, they were like, oh no, this is the way, this is the way it needs to go. And I was like, but I don't enjoy this. Why would I do that? So yeah, I really just want to go in and just say, look, breathe, it's okay. There are so many opportunities out there for you.
Yeah, and there's so many examples of highly successful plot twist situations people are in. Like, there's not really an end point. I think that's a key thing that sometimes is missed in storytelling, to be fair. Some of the other some stories don't always talk about it not having to go a particular way.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I don't know about you, but I find a lot of kids really like the plot twists at the end of stories now.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's because life is a lot more like that now, people breaking those molds.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I think that the younger generations now are kind of like, well, why my parents were miserable or my grandparents were miserable? Why would I want to aspire to be like them? I want to be happy. I want to love my life.
Yeah, back to that intuition again, hey? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They're always looking, they're always seeing, they're always watching. And I think, too, adults need to be aware, especially where we role model, like how we live our life and what we're showing through our actions show our mindset. They're going to be looking and going, well, are you actually where you're at, where you say you're at? Like, you can't say you love your work and be miserable about it.
No. And then be crying yourself to sleep at night, It's not. They're a bit counter opposite.
Yeah. So what is next for you?
So I have written my second book. I'm in the process of editing it, so I'm hoping to get that published within the next 6 or so months. So I have quite a small gap between the first and second book because so many people already have told me that they want me to get the second one out. So I'm really going to try and make that happen as quickly as possible. And then I'm moving. So I'm in Cairns at the moment, moving back to Brisbane on Christmas Day. So I'm planning for that. I'm planning for that as well. So I'm super excited. And then from there, it's just get more ghostwriting clients, help more people write their books, start traveling when the borders reopen again and we can travel again. So I have so many friends in the States at the moment, and I have a friend who was a high school principal and knows a lot of connections over there. So she's already trying to get me into talking at schools and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a timing thing. So what's next is just follow the dream, get Tom Felton to come and talk on a stage with me. It's everything. Yeah. What's next? I don't know. But this is the plan. This is the guideline. We'll see what happens,
Yeah. And I think often, again, coming back to that surrender, when we let go of the exact timeframes it's going to happen, we get so surprised about how quickly things occur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think that's one of the best things about having a business, because when we're in a corporate world or working with somebody else, we often don't have the flexibility to see just how limitless life really is.
Yes, absolutely. Because you're stuck in that cubicle and then all you can see is the 4 walls around you, and it's not. I can't even. I'd be the worst employee now. I just would be like, why are you asking me to do this? Like, it's your job. I'm like, but I don't want to do this. I want to do this. And they're like, well, you've been hired for this. I'm like, oh, all right, bye.
It's funny you say that, because somebody said to me a little while back, do you think you would be good as an employee? And I'm like, well, I have a really big thinking. So in part, I get that, yeah, I'd probably be a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Okay, you're fired now. Thanks, bye.
And so I think sometimes people ask themselves that question, work is making me feel like this, but they don't actually think, is it giving me what I need for who I am as a person?
Exactly. Like, it's giving you a capped income, but it's not there's no room for growth,
Yeah. And then you've got to go, okay, what else can I do so that I actually get that growth that I need, so I'm not dying?
you know what? It's terrifying not knowing 100% where your next paycheck is going to come from, you know, or if it's going to stop all of a sudden, or, you know, what life lesson is going to throw me in the dirt now, you know, with my business. But it is so liberating.
Yeah.
So liberating. Oh my goodness. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I think we may have talked about it before, but I remember leaving a school in 2015 in the UK and deciding to choose happiness over that paycheck. It was the worst time to do it. And a lot of people were like, you're crazy. You're not going to get any other work. I cannot describe how much of a change there was in my happiness level. It was so instantaneous because it was actually choosing happiness over rigidity. Like, oh my goodness. And I think for people that don't know what it's like to have businesses like we have, they just need to experience it for a bit, even if they put a time frame on it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember quitting Woolies, which was my first ever job, when I was 19. And it was literally like this weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Like, I could see the sunshine again. I was smiling again, and, you know, all that kind of jazz. And ever since then, I was like, I'm never feeling like that again when it comes to my work. Never, ever. Like, I was miserable, and I didn't realize how miserable I was until I left, you know. But it was literally like just this fog, and this weight was just lifted, and I was like, life is actually supposed to be fun? What? You know, crazy.
And now you can go back to the Woolies brands and be like, hey, do you want to buy X amount of copies of my book?
Exactly. Exactly. Be like, I worked for you, now you can work for me. Thank you.
So good. So this is definitely going to be a book that people should get their children for Christmas.
Or even if you're a Harry Potter fan, get it yourself.
Yeah. Where can they get their hands on it?
Amazon is the best place to get it right now. So we're aiming to get it into bookstores and in airports and stuff. But because it's only been released for a month, Amazon is the #1 place where you can get it right now. And if you get it within the next 24 hours, probably 12 hours in Australia, it's for free on Kindle.
Oh, cool. There you go.
Yeah.
And does that include the physical copy in your hand?
Physical copy, so no, on Kindle it's free, but if you buy the physical copy, it's paid because it costs so much to print. But yeah.
Sorry, I mean, like, will we get the physical copy before Christmas?
Yes, if you buy now, you'll get it before Christmas.
Amazing.
So Amazon still has the little green tick saying available before Christmas, but getting quick because I know that it can take a little while sometimes, especially if you don't get in I think before the next week or so, from what I've been told.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's so exciting. So for everyone listening, make sure you get the Mandala Chronicles. I'm going to get some links off you if I could, please, so we can put them up on my Facebook page. Yep. And then people can go and get some copies. And for anyone watching that is from the US, you need to go and download from Amazon or Kindle?
Amazon and Kindle is the same, yep.
Either or, and make sure that we get Jordan's book to #1 in the US.
Yay, thank you so much. Goosebumps. It's going to happen.
Thank you so much for this. I've really loved it. Always enjoy catching up with you. And I think a lot of people will get some awesome gems out of this conversation, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All good. All right. I'm looking forward to finding out about the second book in the series. It'll be really awesome. And you'll have to tell us how your sales go and how the US chart topping. Goodness me, now I've lost all my eloquence with my words. That's great when you're speaking to an author. But yeah, you'll have to let us know how your goal goes with the US, and we'll share the success.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I will absolutely keep you posted.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
See you. Bye.